GymWits.
We've got an Ask the Trainer. So, Justin, you will ask the trainer. As usual, if you have questions, send them to thegymwits@gmail.com. And this one comes from Phil. So why don't you read the question?
All right, so Phil writes, "Help! I'm a tw- I'm a 29-year-old male fitness enthusiast. I've been a gym rat since high school. I've always held a little extra weight around the belly, but in the last year, I have made an effort to focus on my diet in the hopes of getting a six-pack. I try my best to eat clean and count calories. I've done intermittent fasting and try to make sure that all my macros and nutrients are all on point. I got to the point where I can see the four-pack, but I still have this annoying little bit of fat on my lower abs that I can't seem to get rid of. Any advice on what I should do to get rid of it? More dieting, question mark, surgery, lower ab exercises, please help, Phil."
Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to test you, Justin. What's your answer before I take it over?
Surgery. Like, if you want the surefire way to remove it, just have it surgically removed. Although I don't know if it's the healthiest way to do it, but it is a way to do it.
All right. All right. Well, the bad news first is Justin might be right, but there's a lot of, as usual, without all the data and all the information about this person, their body composition, their diet, their exercise history. I can't give a specific answer, but I can kind of broadly give you an answer based on my experience and working with people. So so bad news first is you can't spot reduce. This is, we've known this for a long time. Anything you read or hear that says like target body, target belly fat or target, arm fat or back, whatever it is, if they're telling you this, you can spot reduce, right? Full stop, like it's BS. Like you just can't. It's nearly impossible to say I'm going to lose fat in this area. Like, our body figures it out without our conscious intervention where we're going to lose fat. So whenever it comes to like wanting to lose fat from a particular area, you're always going to have to kind of play the game of losing body fat by whatever method you need to take to lose it, and just hoping that your body chooses to lose it from the area that you want to lose it. So that's the kind of first part of is like kind of the bad news. So now, what can you do? So if you're trying to lose body fat, there what are the components? Well, one component is just genetics, right? So like, again, like I said, it's built in where you're going to lose body fat as you lose body fat. So you don't have much of a choice over on that in that way. There's diet. So your diet will play a role in how you lose body fat. There's exercise. So the type of exercise you do can play a role as well. And then you also have issues like, hormone imbalances, sleep, stress, inflammation that all potentially could play a role. So, let's kind of tackle them all. And, so first, okay, so genes can't really do anything unless you get surgery, like Justin said. Diet. So you very well might be doing some great stuff with your diet. My recommendation would be, if you feel like you're doing everything you can nutrition wise and you're still not seeing the results that you want, maybe consult with the registered dietitian and see if there's something you're missing. I think there's so much information out there. We've talked about this often. If Tony was here, I'm sure she would agree that there are plenty of situations where people think that they're eating healthy or that they're doing everything right, and they're just not. Maybe some guy that they trust told them something and they believed it, and so they think they're eating healthy. Maybe they read an article, whatever it is. There's plenty of examples of diets and things that people think are healthy but just aren't, and maybe even doing more harm than good. So if you feel like you're doing everything with nutrition and it's not working, again, seek out some help and see, because we could tell you, obviously eating clean, lots of fruits and vegetables, green, lots of greens, staying away from, a lot of fat, staying away from oily foods, getting good protein, that's all good, all good stuff. But at the end of the day, like you might need a dietitian to look at what you're currently doing and help you kind of come up with a plan that might work better, for this. So then there's, things, okay, so like sleep and stress. as much as you can, try to get 7-8 hours of sleep a day. As much as you can, try to manage your stress. If you find that stress is an issue for you, look into ways to deal with that. And again, this is a very person specific thing, but stress can play a big role in how your body deals with a lot of this stuff. So those are two things that I would say to look into if you're not. Staying hydrated is always going to be an important thing. And then is the exercise. So as we talked about earlier, when it comes to doing exercise, variety is important. So if you find that you've plateaued or you're not getting the results you want, you might want to think about doing something different. So if you're a big cardio person, especially if you're a big cardio person, resistance training can help. So the way that resistance training actually helps with belly fat, and again, it's indirect, but the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. And so the more calories you burn at rest, the more you're just burning body fat as you're interacting with the world day to day. So you might want to think about really increasing resistance training just to putting on a little bit more muscle will just increase the rate that you're burning calories. So that might be something to think about. If you're currently doing resistance, then try to think about some new exercises or new routines. Just try something new, try something different. High intensity interval training, is like intermittent fasting is all the rage right now. And there's plenty of studies, that show it as being something really beneficial. There's some studies that say it's not much different from anything else. But if you're not doing high intensity interval training, highly recommend looking at that as something to possibly do. I do it. I love it. It's a great way to work out. And again, it's a great way to kind of shock your system. Other thing I would say, going back to the diet, like we were talking about, is just making sure that you're at a deficit. So if you're trying to lose some body fat, that whatever calories you burn day to day, and this is again something you can work on with the dietitian, but that you're slightly lower than that so that you're burning some more calories day to day. So like that is one of the common issues that people have, is getting rid of that little extra layer of lower abdominal fat. In some cases it's doable. In some cases it's extremely hard. So you kind of have to also consider, like, what you've done, what things you've changed. And if it's just not working, you do have to think, like, what's the cost benefit of this? Like, how much is it really worth it to you? If you have aspirations to be a fitness model, then you're going to have to, you probably will be willing to go to certain extreme measures, whether be it the diet, exercise, or surgery route. And if you're just doing it because you want to look good at the beach, then that's a consideration that you have to make. Is it worth the effort, the pain, the suffering that it might take to get rid of that little bit? Uh, so yeah, those are just things to consider. I wish I wish there was a great answer. I'd be a rich person if I had a simple answer, but I don't. And anybody that tells you they do is lying and trying to swindle you. So just kind of think about that. But thanks, Phil. It sounds like the help was hilarious at the beginning of the email. It doesn't sound like you're in that bad of a situation.
Well,
So
no.
just
Phil's in a great situation.
yeah,
He's like in great
yeah.
shape.
It's like
It's like
I'm in great
he's
shape. I have a
he's
4-pack.
just
I just have
he's
yeah,
trying to lose like a little bit of fat. And look, it's difficult. Like if you're, genetically, if you're not supposed to lose that, your body doesn't want you to. It's going to be tough,
yeah, exactly.
right? Also, do realize that having that extraordinarily low body fat percentage is not always the healthiest thing,
Yeah,
right?
well,
Like we're meant to have body fat
yeah,
on us. So it sounds like you want to basically obliterate all your body fat, 3% body fat or something like that, right? It's not always the healthiest thing. So do consider that. I know that when you're, when you're young, that things like your aesthetics are very important, right? And they are, and they should always be. But to what end? Now, you mentioned you're a fitness enthusiast and not a professional. So if it almost, to me, it almost sounds like to get to this point, you'd almost have to like jump into the realm of being a professional, somehow a professional in fitness,
yeah,
right? Or you might have to become like a bodybuilder. It's like add a ton of muscle mass or something like that, or dive it, or become like a professional CrossFitter or something like that.
yeah.
So yeah, it would be, you might need to take extreme measures in order to get rid of that body fat, and you have to really decide whether it's worth it
Yeah.
to have that, what that would mean for your life.
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, anything with all this, it's always like a calculus of like what the the cost, or cost benefit kind of analysis.
One thing I don't
And
recommend is taking any drugs, right? Be it either steroids to help you build muscle mass or weight loss pills or something like that.
yeah,
It's just that would not be the GymWits way
yeah,
or a highest recommendation to try to lose that.
yeah, I would agree. Again, a little bit to the extent that it okay. I
So it's
generally
okay to
don't.
take a little bit of steroids.
I don't. I have never done it outside of when I had alopecia on my chin and they gave me steroids for like shots for a few weeks.
But that's
But
not that's
no,
not the,
no, it's always funny when someone's like, "Have you ever taken steroids?" Well, I did get injections in my
we've all
chin
taken steroids. If ever
but
you've rubbed cortisone on your
yeah,
body, you've taken a
no.
steroid.
So okay, again, it's cost benefit. It's a risk. So basically, if he's if he wants to be a fitness model or a bodybuilder, then sure, take all the steroids you want. Like like do your research, understand the risks and reward, the risks of it. But look, if your goal is to get into fitness modeling or into bodybuilding, like you're probably going to have to do it. So who am I to say don't do it? So I'm just saying, like, if you're an average person, like, just kind of want to be fit, yeah, you probably don't want to do it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, unless you have a doctor or somebody who can really guide you through it properly, it doesn't make sense to do it just to kind of look good. But if it's a career choice or career path, then yeah, you have to understand the risks that come with it, and again, try to do it in as safe a manner as you possibly can. But so that's why I'm saying, like, I don't want to say outright, no, it's not the GymWits way, don't do it. It's like, no, if you want to and it's legal, well, yeah, or it's not really legal anywhere, to do it without, unless you're under doctor supervision. But look, if you want to do it and it's for your career, that's a lot different for me than if you're, again, just you want to look good at the beach.
Yeah, just
Make sense?
remember.
Huh?
Yeah. Remember,
Okay.
you'll grow your muscle. You'll grow some parts of your bodies and shrink others. Just consider that.
All right. Well, at that, if you have a question, send them to thegymwits@gmail.com. We love answering your questions. Again, the more we get, the more we'll answer. So thanks again, Phil.
Yes, Phil.
And we'd
Thanks for
love to hear
writing
from
in.
you.
GymWits.